Сейчас я хотела бы передать слово нашим следующим спикерам. Это Сьюзен Wagenmans и Софи Роу, которые нам расскажут об онлайн-образовательном пространстве для студентов, которое они используют в своих университетах. Так как девушки представляют два университета, это университет Амстердама и также Амстердамский университет прикладных наук. So, dear Susan, dear Sophie, we welcome you to our conference. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm very happy to meet you first time. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. We're very happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation. Yeah, to start off with, Sophie is going to share the PowerPoints on her screen, and we're going to do this presentation together. And the presentation is about a project we're busy with, and it's called Onlinebrary. But before we start, we like you we like you to ask what you think Onlinebrary will be, and we do that by a Slido. Yes, there's our presentation. I hope you can all see it. And can you hear us clearly?
Yes, we can hear you fine, and we can see the presentation as well.
Perfect. Okay, just to start off with, we'd like you to ask what you think Onlinebrary will be before we start this presentation and before we introduce ourselves. How can you do that? If you go to slido.com and use the code 58317, you can add an answer. You can also scan the QR code on the left side. We can also put it in the chat. Maybe that's easier. If you go to slido.com with the code 58317, you come to our platform. In the meantime, I steal your screen, Sophie, so I can go to Slido and see all the answers.
Yeah, perfect.
Share. Okay. Do you see the right screen now? See this? Yes. I hope it all works for everyone to get to Slido. And then the question was, what do you imagine an Onlinebrary will be? Oh, I see the code Slido entering. We're actually looking for your interpretation of Onlinebrary. What do you think Onlinebrary is before we start this whole presentation?
Уважаемые коллеги, всем ли удалось зайти на платформу для того, чтобы ответы написать?
Yeah, maybe we should.
When I enter the code, I actually see already pre-prepared questions. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So we're actually looking for the answer. So what do you think Onlinebrary will be? And it can be a few words or just one word. What do you think Onlinebrary is? Somebody put it in a study space already. But we can continue because this presentation will take 20 minutes and there's 10 minutes remaining for the questions. So maybe we should continue with the presentation and we will tell you what Onlinebrary is. Sophie, can you put the PowerPoints back on?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome everyone. This presentation will be about Onlinebrary. Onlinebrary is a project that Sophie and I recently started, and it is about online study spaces in an online study environment. My name is Suzanne Wagenmans. I work for the Amsterdam University of Applied Science, and this presentation I did together with my colleague Sofie Rouw, and she works for the University of Amsterdam. We both do the same role. So what we do within the organizations, we are project leaders, outreach activities, and concept development. So basically, we organize events, exhibitions, activities, and you name it. And we come up with new concepts. What are we going to speak about today? We're going to explain the start of Onlinebrary, the pilot phase 1, the pilot phase 2, and how we see the future of Onlinebrary. Sofie's going to tell you more about the start and the first pilot phase.
Yeah, so it started almost a year ago, of course, with the COVID crisis and the first lockdown here in the Netherlands. It took a bit longer than expected, so it started in March, and then around June we thought there are a lot of students studying from home. They don't have a good space to work. They miss the connection with other students and the university. So there was a big survey amongst around 5,000 students asking about study stress, the impact on their studies from the corona crisis. And there were a lot of students experiencing study stress, as you can see here. But also students reported gloominess, loneliness, anxiety too, just because they really felt alone in this. They didn't have others to talk to. They didn't have the right working space. So we thought, as a library being the central study space normally, but now closed, let's try to think of a way to connect students again, and to offer kind of a similar study space to support the students. So basically, we thought about studying in the library that helps students when they study together to stay motivated and focused, but also the collective breaks they take or the moments they meet each other at the coffee machine, they really contribute to that social connection between them, and that they feel less alone, less stressy because they see others studying as well. So we thought, let's try to create an online space where both aspects come together, and really support students in studying from home, even though, of course, it can never replace a physical place to sit or something like the library. But there was nothing online, so we tried to focus on that. That's where the project started. We first started to involve students because we thought they have to say what they would like. They are in charge because it will be a space, a study space for them to use, for them to feel comfortable. We can assume what they would like, but let's involve them to contribute. So we first made a project group with 6 work students. These are students, they normally work at the library desk, so they know a lot about the library, but they're also studying. Then we involved a focus group of 20 students, and it later became 50. And we asked the project group to help us with the development by hosting the Onlinebrary. And we asked the focus group to help with the development by testing and using the Onlinebrary. And because those groups are both students, same age, they study at the university, they really act as peers. And for us, it was very important that the Onlinebrary would be a co-creation between the students and the library, because we thought the students are very much involved to contribute to this space and to experiment with us, to brainstorm with us about what they would like. We started the Onlinebrary as a team in Microsoft Teams. And we decided to do that because Teams was already, of course, an online workspace. So that meant we could start just by using it, and we didn't have to build something first. So we set up a Microsoft team with different channels. For example, one of the channels for study sessions, and then we asked the host, so the work student, to host those study sessions. And together with the focus group and the project group, we were testing a few things to start. So we first started to test the welcoming phase. So how is the first time entering the Onlinebrary? Is it clear what you are able to do there? How do you want to be welcomed when you are just entering the team and you don't know anyone? We also tested the ideal length for study sessions. So we started with 45-minute study session and 15-minute break. We've also tested the use of sound and video. So, for example, during the study sessions, we first assumed that it would be necessary to have absolutely silent. But then we tested some variations also by announcing breaks, by just to have a small chit chat between the participants. And the same for the webcam. So we assumed that students should have their webcam on during the study session because we thought that's the thing why they stay motivated, because they see each other. But we were also interested in students' vision about having the webcam constantly on or maybe sometimes off. Then we also tested the collective breaks. So we tried a few programs for it. We've asked different partners to program the breaks with activities, small topics to talk about, sometimes a game. And here you see how it looked like. So this was the first setup. We started a few channels, as you can see in the left. So the one study focus is the study channel, and there is from Tuesday to Thursday from 9 to 6, there was a study session hosted by the work students. And everyone was just able to join whenever they would, so that you don't have to wait for breaks. You can just enter whenever you feel like studying, and there you see on the right, there are already a few people in. And just by simply clicking join, you will enter the study session. We also set up a channel, the canteen. So that was used to have conversations, but also to have lunch or coffee with each other. And within the breaks from the study sessions, we normally opened the canteen to go to the canteen with each other and then have a chat or have a coffee or meet someone. The channel library link offers a direct link to the catalog, and also direct links to other library services. The channel project group is a private channel for us and the work students to have conversations about their experience with the Onlinebrary, but also to set up a schedule for the shifts. And then we have the channel study tips, and we involved and invited students to put study tips there, so they can inspire each other. And this is how one of the first study sessions looked like. So most of the people, they have their webcam on. There is a host, and he is now he's now below. So the one with the yellow background. And it was important that the host was very recognizable present. And the chat, as you can see on the right, that was a lot used to have the conversation. So the host used the chat to announce the breaks, but also students used the chat to have a conversation with each other. Yeah, the conversations between students, but also the conversations with us and the work students were very important. So yeah, the co-creation is very much one of the main focus points in this project. So we had a lot of conversations with all those groups to brainstorm about new ideas, to experiment with new things. We also sent weekly surveys to all the students, and we had a lot of meetings with the project group, and always very open for input from students. Yeah, because we were very curious what they would come up with. The first results. So after the first pilot phase, we found out that the best or the ideal length for an online study session turned out to be 15-minute study session with a 10-minute break. And we noticed that it created structure for students, even if they didn't follow the session completely. So just because there was a program, they felt like there was a structure in their study day, even they just continued studying during the break, or they didn't start at the first session, or they started when the session was almost over. We also found out that the framework that the study sessions made was very stimulating for the social contact. So instead of just speaking to someone online you've never met, you don't know, the framework of the study session made that easier to just speak to someone you don't know and share experience. We found out that the host is very crucial. So the hosts are responsible for all the practical stuff, like setting up the meeting, doing the time management for the study sessions. But also when the students had technical issues with Teams, or when they have questions about library, because the hosts are also work students, it's very crucial to have someone there that knows all those things. And that has the lead. We also found out that students would like to have more hours of studying. So even when there is no hosted session, they would like to start study sessions their own. And that's also very much the benefit of an online platform, of course. So one of the results was that we would like to start creating own study sessions so that the Onlinebrary could be open 24/7. We also noticed that the focus group we worked with was a bit too small to test the social elements. For instance, the canteen. We were 3 days a week open, and with 50 students, there were some moments that there were only like 4 students in the session. So there was a bit of a too small group to test like a canteen function or party or something, because when there were just two of 4 people interested to join, there were just 2 people in the session. Also, we noticed there was a kind of a gap between the intention and action from students. So we had over 200 applications to join the focus group. But it turned out that maybe 100 students turned up for the personal one-on-one introduction. And then some people we didn't see at all. So there is a big gap between being enthusiastic about the project and really join the project.
Yes, and then we started the second pilot phase. The second pilot phase started sooner than we expected because here in the Netherlands we had a second lockdown in December 2020. And that made us realize, okay, we have to open the Onlinebrary for all students from the university and the University of Applied Science. Students were not really familiar with MS Teams, the platform that we used. So that's why we made an introduction video about it. And we'd like to show you this introduction video as well, because it also gives you an impression of what the Onlinebrary is nowadays. Oh, Sophie, we don't have sounds. Oh, unfortunately, we see a video without sound.
Is maybe there a link to the video so that we can open up here from our end?
Yeah, it is edited in the PowerPoint. I'm looking at Sophie, who's more technical than I am.
I will send you the link. It's on Vimeo. Or maybe we can just have a look without the sound. It's just the background sound. So.
Perfect. I can tell you what we see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have control about your screen anymore, Sophie. So you have to, otherwise I couldn't unmute myself. Okay, can you resume the video? Yes, here we go. So this is the team Onlinebrary on MS Teams. Now here you see it again. So students has to go to Onlinebrary. This is the team and it exists out of different channels. And one channel that we added was the welcoming channel. And here students introduce themselves. Study focus, Sophie told you about it. It's 15 minutes studying and 10 minutes break. And that is the button to join. And then you come into the meeting. And here we see that Iris, the one, yes, she is the host. You can recognize her because of the background. She announces a break at this point, a 10 minutes break. We also added a channel and it's called Study Goals. And that was for extra motivation for students. And then they enter the study goal in the beginning of the day, and during the day, they tested if they achieved the goals. Also the canteen, we're working on a thesis channel. Yeah, here you saw hosted study session, Dutch and English spoken, and it's open 24/7. Now this video is obviously made for students. So yeah, you see, we already had some extra channels here. We had the welcoming channel, so students can introduce themselves. But also the study goals, we saw that people can put, before they start studying, they put their study goals into the study goal channel. And during the day, they check if they have achieved their study goals. In the second pilot phase, what was really important is to focus on the gap between intention and action. Sophie already explained that there was a lot of enthusiastic students, but there were quite little students who actually entered the Onlinebrary, who actually pressed joined and came into the virtual world. So that's a point of focus. And how are we going to do that? That is by community building, face filters, a landing page, collaborations, and a role as junior project leader in the Onlinebrary. I will explain all the points. The first one is community building. So by organizing more social activities or more activities, it doesn't particularly have to be social, but activities to create more traffic. We hope that students build a community. One example you see on the right is one that we organized on Valentine's Day. It's called Pretend It's a Date, Find Your Study Mate. And basically you made a profile, a study profile of yourself and see if that matches with other students in the Onlinebrary. Furthermore, the second one is the face filters. We're still working on this. The face filter, it's only, now you can do it on Zoom as well, but we do it in Teams. And that's basically a background that tells more about yourself. At least that's our intention. So this filter gives a photo of yourself in the left corner, and maybe you show your book to others, what you're studying at the moment, or maybe some personal stuff that you have in the room. So this filter tells you something about yourself. And hopefully we're hoping that this creates interaction with your fellow students in the Onlinebrary. The third one is a landing page, because Teams of itself, we saw it is quite plain, it's boring. It doesn't really give you imagination how it should look like. So we are busy developing a landing page, and we're actually thinking about a map of Amsterdam that looks a bit like this. Sophie, can you go to the next slide? Yes, so like this. So this is the map of Amsterdam, and every channel in the Onlinebrary should have a visual. So let's say the canteen. So we make a visual for the canteen, could be a bar or something. So you place that on the map of Amsterdam. Students can go to the bar. If you press on it, you get more and better explanation of what it is. And then with a button, join, and then you go to Teams to the canteen. And so with every channel, we want a visualization. Collaboration, we also like to work together with all kinds of organizations and platforms within the University of Amsterdam or the University of Applied Science. So we already have some collaborations with some studies, with some faculties, also with the Central Student Council, with sport organizations, Cultural Student Center. So to create more traffic to the Onlinebrary, but also that gives them, the organizations, the opportunity to create something in the Onlinebrary, and that can add value to the Onlinebrary. And the last one is the role as a junior project leader in the Onlinebrary. Sofie and I are really busy developing this project, but we are employees. So we're not the peers that students want to see. So we just hired 2 work students to do this role. And yeah, they are basically the peers, and they are responsible for the day-to-day communication, the day-to-day tasks, and also to organize social activities, because they know more what the needs and the wishes are of the students. And then the future, yeah, Sofie, can you tell us more about how we think the future should look like from the Onlinebrary?
Yeah, so in summer we will have an evaluation from the project till now, and we are researching to start up in another platform, or maybe build another platform, because we are looking for something that's more visual and more about being present online. And so Teams is very much for working and for having meetings or something, but we are looking for a virtual world more, and also to encourage the imagination. So you don't pretend to be in the canteen, or you don't have to think okay, this is the general canteen, but we all pretend to be in the canteen and have lunch, but you really feel like being there. So we are researching the possibility to have different rooms to walk into, to have different activities taking place on the platform, and to develop a sustainable virtual world that also, that's also an addition to the physical library. Also, maybe when more people are able to physically visit the library again. And we are also looking into possibilities to add library services to such a platform. Yeah, so that's a bit about the project. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have questions or suggestions, or you want more information, feel free to ask us now or send us an email later.
Dear Sophie, Susan, thank you very much for your presentation. Such an interesting platform and so topical and relevant with the current global framework. Уважаемые коллеги, есть ли у вас вопросы к нашим спикерам?